Welcome back into the Reier on YouTube channel, where it is time once again for Second Helping, the show of choice for fans and followers of the number one league in all of collegiate athletics, the Southeastern Conference. Travis Reier, as always, joined by my great friend and co-host, Mr. Brent Beaird, longtime college football analyst, most recently at First Coast News down in Jacksonville, Duval, Florida. And of course, Brent also a voter for
Mhm.
the Heisman Trophy. And Brent, we've been pondering when this 9-game schedule might go into effect for SEC play. And then we
Yes.
get the news this afternoon on this Thursday that it will happen beginning in one season. 2026, we're going to have 9 SEC games for each and every SEC team starting in a year's time.
What I've noticed so far with this, and I'm glad to see it because one thing is going to have to lead to another, and we'll get into that in a minute. But the thing that really sticks out to me like a sore thumb, I haven't seen one coach that's been quoted on this yet, Trav. So I'm getting, and at some point they'll say it that well, we just kind of we went along and we were in unison and all that. But
Yeah,
you know, you,
kumbaya. Yeah.
you know, and I know, Trav, that the coaches had some healthy discussion behind the scenes, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, they do that each and every year together down in Destin. And
They do.
so I guess what we're going to have now, though, right, is 3 of the 4 leagues, the
Yes.
Power Fours, that are
Yep.
going to have
That's right.
9-game conference schedules, with
Hmm.
the SEC joining the Big Ten and the Big 12. I guess
That's
the
right.
ACC will be the outlier moving
Yeah.
forward.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. And they will eventually probably, I would think, come into the fold, and they will join it. And, I mean, look, I'm just being level honest here. I mean, if you're in the ACC and you get one more team,
Yeah.
I mean, the level of competition is not the same as it is in other leagues. So, but particularly at what, Trav, at about the 3/4 of the way through to all the way to the bottom, there are a lot of wins in there somewhere for the
Yeah.
ACC.
Yeah, and I think the ACC commissioner today made some comment like, "Well, we're the highest rated academic league
Yeah, yeah, I saw
of the
that.
4,
Yes.
so we'll
Yeah.
figure it out." Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
got us there, commish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they absolutely run the GPAs for
Yeah.
every school across the scroll like we have
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Reminding you, by the way, to like and subscribe to Reier on YouTube,
Mhm.
because that's what we all tune in for. Look,
Yeah.
it's great if you have a highly performing
Mhm.
academic league, but spare us at this point.
Yes, please.
Brent, we're going to talk about. I thought tonight we would get into how this impacts league teams in terms of what we know
Yeah.
is going to be a format with 3 permanent opponents to kind of
Mhm.
try to maintain the rivalries that we've grown to know and love in this league for so many years. Still going to have just a top to bottom league, no
Sure.
divisions, not going to have divisional play. But when we run through some of these teams, I'm going to be interested to get your thoughts on who stays and who goes,
Yeah.
from that
Yeah.
perspective. I think we already have a pretty good idea on that.
Mhm.
But for the sake of a level competitive field, for competitiveness, um, there's some teams, as we know, not all 3 opponents are going to be the
Yeah.
same. I mean, we can start
No,
with Alabama right there, and we just go ahead and assume that it's Auburn, Tennessee, what, LSU as
probably.
the 3
Probably.
constants. So,
Yes.
that's going to be a hill to climb on an annual basis. But again, I would guess the formulas for the
Mhm.
schedules will reflect that outside of who your 3 annual opponents. I hope what it doesn't mean is that because of the 3 permanent opponents, we go maybe years without seeing some of these teams
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
in the regular season because we can't just load them up, and then also have the toughness in terms of the difficulty in terms of those annual opponents.
Well, and Trev, don't we see this even now?
Yeah,
I think it's with Georgia and A&M,
yeah.
that A&M still is not played. But basically in
Georgia
Georgia.
hasn't been to College Station, I
Yeah,
think, is
yeah,
what
that's it. Yeah, yes,
I think
yes,
A&M's been to Athens. I wanna say Kellen Mond
yeah,
and
right.
A&M may have gone
Mhm.
to Athens, but
Yeah,
I still don't think Georgia's been to College
yeah.
Station. So,
Right, right. So, and that would certainly make a difference too. And the thing that we've got to consider here is not only do we're going to have 9 SEC teams, but we're also going to have at least what, Trav, one particularly competitive game, one particularly good team that's coming out of some of the other leagues. I mean, we've got that to a degree now, but I think even that's going to be stepped up a bit.
yeah. Yeah, I think you're right about that. And so we move through the teams in the league and kind of ponder some
Yeah,
scheduling scenarios for them. You talk about the Arkansas Razorbacks. That's almost a team that's rivalry-less in the
yeah,
Southeastern
yeah.
Conference.
Really,
Although
yeah,
with Texas in the league now, I got to
yeah,
think Texas is going to be one of those three on an annual basis. Missouri's been presented
mhm,
as a rival and
yeah,
LSU. So even
yeah,
when you look at Arkansas' schedule this year, final 3 games of the regular season,
mhm,
LSU on the road, Texas
yeah.
on the road, Missouri in Fayetteville.
Yeah, and I've also seen Ole Miss is
Hmm.
a possibility for Arkansas, and that would kind of be interesting too. But yes, I think for those fan bases, obviously that Texas game is a must. But that also that Missouri game, I think, is a
Hmm.
natural for the Hogs.
We get into Auburn, Georgia. You got to think
Yes,
Alabama. So there's two right there where Auburn's
yes.
getting no favors on an annual basis. You would think then, you gets a little trickier. I guess is
Hmm.
it? Let's say maybe Texas A&M. Um, you know, Auburn doesn't play Mississippi State this season, but maybe it's that type of matchup.
Hmm. Hmm.
Looking at kind of traditional rivalries, Georgia and Alabama certainly strike a chord
Yeah.
for Auburn from that perspective, but that third one, I guess, could be a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah, I've seen Vanderbilt for that,
Oh, really?
as a possibility. Because I guess, Trev, if you're thinking about all Alabama and Georgia, well, the third team probably needs to be a team that, and this is not disparaging against Vandy, it's just the way it is. Your third team needs to be a team you can beat.
Yeah, and that's where it gets interesting though,
It is.
because you got some teams in this league when you talk about Alabama with the three that we're kind of assuming are going to be
Mhm.
those traditional trio of opponents between LSU, Tennessee, and Auburn.
Yeah.
Alabama lost to Vandy last year, I know that,
Right.
but boy, year in and year out, that's not an easy
Yeah.
road to hoe,
Mhm.
as they like to say. What about the Florida Gators from that perspective, Brent? Georgia, obviously.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where do you kind of go from there? A lot of people I think just point at Tennessee and go, well, Florida, Tennessee.
Mhm.
Um, but for me, growing up in the state of Florida,
Yeah. Yeah.
it always felt like LSU
Yeah.
was
I agree with that.
over the course of time in terms of just year in and year out on the schedule, memorable type of games, going back, not
Yeah.
just to 92 or that era when we went to divisions and Spurrier came into the league, Fulmer's at Tennessee, and those memorable matchups, at least on paper, that you had between the Vols and the Gators.
Mhm. Mhm.
So for me, it's LSU
Yeah.
and Florida. I mean, excuse me, it's LSU and Georgia,
Yeah.
and then it might even be Kentucky. I want to say Florida and Kentucky have played
Uh,
more
that that's
than
that's a great
Florida and
point.
Tennessee.
Yeah, well, and maybe just because, and now I've seen as a possibility as Florida with Georgia, Oklahoma, and South Carolina.
Wow.
Now South Carolina probably makes a little more sense from the geography point of view, I'm not sure at all about.
I need Florida and LSU to play.
Yeah, look,
I
I'm
need
with
them
you on
to play.
that.
I
I
need them to
agree.
play annually.
Yes.
I mean, you
Yeah.
think about this year in week 3, that matchup you're going to have, or I guess it's week 3.
Yeah.
Florida goes to Baton Rouge
Hmm.
early in this season. I need that.
Yeah.
As
I'm
as
with
a
you.
college football fan, an SEC fan, I'd like to
Yeah.
see that
Yes.
on an annual basis. Let's talk about the Georgia Bulldogs again. We just talked about Florida in relation to Georgia, so that one you would think sticks. The Auburn rivalry,
Hmm.
ancient. That rivalry
Yeah.
goes back
Yeah.
so far. So that would seem to be 2. But then with Georgia, the third team gets kind of interesting because you've had Georgia and Kentucky throughout the
Yeah.
years. Georgia and
Yeah.
Tennessee probably haven't played as much as some people think they have, at least
Hmm.
pre-divisions anyway. Um, what do you think there as far as that third SEC annual opponent for the Georgia Bulldogs?
I've seen Kentucky,
Yeah,
and Trav, even as what last year was that 13-12 type thing, right?
yeah, yeah.
So a game easily that Kentucky really
And that
is.
was that after South Carolina just smashed Kentucky, I think, in
Yeah,
Lexington too. Maybe, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that would be interesting, frankly. Now look, Georgia Auburn certainly has not been a rivalry, has it, Travis? I mean, Georgia is on that rivalry, frankly, which kind of makes me wonder why in the world is Auburn having Cam Newton back and honoring him when you're playing Georgia and the record you've had against Georgia. I mean, I get the rivalry thing with it, but
yeah.
I'm not sure that's quite the time to have him back.
It's felt like a stretch for Auburn of pulling out all the stops,
Yes,
claiming some more
yes,
national titles. Look, Cam Newton, you should honor him every year,
yeah,
frankly. But that's an interesting. That's kind of like saying, "Hey, let's play Georgia for homecoming,"
yeah,
or
yeah,
something like that.
really,
Although, I mean, we see that in some situations at other places too. So when you get to speaking of Georgia and Kentucky potentially moving forward on an annual basis, what about the Kentucky Wildcats and this sort of topic that we're considering as far as the 3 annual opponents? I got to think, well, Tennessee's one.
yeah,
Um, Vanderbilt for Kentucky,
yeah,
I could
yeah.
see that being that's been
Hmm.
a rivalry type situation.
Hmm.
And then as we talked about, is it Kentucky, Florida? Is it Kentucky, Georgia? I would think
Yeah.
that's where you would probably choose from. Although you've got South Carolina that's been
Hmm.
in that mix, obviously,
Hmm.
and even Ole Miss. I want to say Ole Miss,
Yeah,
and prior to the most recent expansion, it seemed like Kentucky and even Mississippi State played on
yeah,
a pretty
yeah.
annual basis.
Yeah, and which leads to the point for this would be Georgia, Mississippi State, and South Carolina.
Hmm.
But again, I get the Georgia, I get the Mississippi State. I'm trying not to let geography have anything to do with this because it doesn't anymore, does it, Travis? That's a suggestion too.
Yep. Yep. Let's talk about the LSU Tigers in some scenarios for Brian Kelly's football team, at least for the foreseeable future, anyway.
Hmm.
Um, I'm pretty much on record. I want Florida to be a continuation,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean Ole Miss going back to Billy Cannon on
yeah.
Halloween night
Oh
back in the
yeah.
50s. That would seem to be a
Mhm.
likely uh, hold on of those type of games. Alabama to me, I think I wonder too how much TV checks
Oh
in
yeah.
on
Oh
this
yes. Yeah.
because I got to think ESPN doesn't want LSU Alabama going anywhere.
No, no.
Um, and then you've had the was it the boot game with
Yeah,
Arkansas? I guess
yeah,
that would seem to be the prime suspects for me where the LSU Tigers are concerned.
yeah, yeah. I've seen Alabama, Ole Miss, and A&M. I think O&M may be a little bit more of a late season rivalry than that one. But certainly Alabama and Ole Miss would be appropriate. And as we've talked over the last few minutes, Florida also would be because even those teams, they're not in separate divisions anymore, but they've been some great games along that line. So, but yes, Alabama Ole Miss would certainly fit.
Yeah, I think so. When you talk about LSU, and then you get into Ole Miss, and the potential there for the Rebels with
Mm-hmm.
LSU. Um, Beyond that, Mississippi State. I mean, you're gonna play
Yeah.
the Egg Bowl. You got to
Oh,
think
yeah.
so. Those would seem to be two pretty well slam dunks
Mm-hmm.
for the Ole Miss Rebels. But another team, when you start thinking about that third option, I guess Arkansas could be
Yeah.
in that mix.
Right.
Um, that's what I'm kind of looking at. I think for Ole
Yeah.
Miss is that third opponent, maybe Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and up for Ole Miss, I'm seeing Arkansas, LSU, Mississippi State, obviously, as you mentioned, but Ole Miss has got a little bit of wiggle room there, frankly.
Yeah, they do. Mississippi State. Uh, we just talked about Ole Miss, so
Mm-hmm.
you got to think that's one. I could see Mississippi State and A&M.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, the the agricultural angle,
Yeah.
where you could
Yeah.
still have
Sure.
that kind of game with
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State and Texas A&M, and then the Egg Bowl. Those two, another situation where when it comes to the third, that's where it'll get interesting with Mississippi State. Could it
Yes.
be Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, could it be Arkansas?
Yeah.
Perhaps. I mean,
Yeah.
those.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of up in the air when I think about Mississippi State and that third opponent.
Yeah. Agree. Now the list I'm looking at is Kentucky, Ole Miss, and A&M.
Yeah.
So that's kind of logical too.
Like I
But
said, when we were talking about Kentucky, they didn't play last year. They're not playing this year, but it
mhm,
seemed like before that they had played a pretty good bit.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think Kentucky had been a real problem maybe for
Hmm.
Mississippi State in the past. So let's get into some other schools as we work down this list with the 9-game conference schedule going
Hmm.
into play. We're getting some alignment here, maybe.
Yeah.
Intentional, we'll find out probably soon enough.
Hmm.
Brent, as it relates to a college football playoff, we've heard in the last week or so the Big Ten floating a what, 26,
Yeah.
28 team
Yeah.
playoff.
24 to 28. Yeah. Yeah.
So who knows, maybe at this point. But I guess we'll talk about the Missouri Tigers too.
Hmm.
Uh, when you think about the rivalry type situations for them. And I think for Missouri, when you consider, um, it seems like Arkansas is going
Yep.
to be one of
Got it.
those that they've kind
Hmm.
of, again, that's one that
Yeah.
they've almost tried to force feed Missouri,
Yeah.
Arkansas to us,
True.
right?
True.
That last
Hmm.
weekend of the regular season, you're going to get Missouri and Arkansas. It might be that Friday afternoon game a lot of years. And then you get beyond that, though. That's, again, even the second game. I guess you would go Oklahoma with
Yeah.
Missouri too,
Probably.
because take that you can take that back a couple of conferences
Hmm.
ago, Brent, if you
Yeah.
want to.
You could absolutely. I'm seeing to your point. I'm seeing Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Something like that, which is interesting to think about too.
Yep. Yep. It is. It absolutely is. And so we continue to move through this list here and look at these teams. I want to talk about South Carolina
Yeah,
in relation to those three annual opponents. And so for the Gamecocks, it's been a little bit weird all these
it
years
has, hasn't
in
it?
the SEC. I mean, really, Georgia is what you think about because
Hmm.
of the
Hmm.
bordering states,
Yeah,
but um, I don't know if you're going to have room to
yeah,
go with South Carolina where Georgia's concerned. I could see Kentucky
yep,
being in that
yep.
mix. I think you got to keep that Mayor's Cup alive, don't you? The
Oh, yeah.
Columbias, you're going to have
Yes.
South Carolina, Missouri is one of those.
Sure.
But if you go Kentucky
Mhm.
and Missouri for South Carolina, you better come with a big dog for that
Yeah.
third one because for the sake of competitive integrity, Missouri and Kentucky ain't going to cut it for a lot of folks. And look,
No.
Missouri's been good the last few years, but is that
Mhm.
going to be the case on an annual basis?
I would agree with that. Trav, I've seen Florida, Kentucky, and Tennessee is a possibility there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and look, now, uh, I would not want to be the schedule maker. I guess that's why they use computers for these things. But and and look, this is a legitimate question because Trav, if you come up with a list that we're looking at here, how many years do you go with this? I know they say, well, this is your permanent opponent, and
Mhm.
I get some of that, but does permanent really need to be permanent, or should there be a 5 to 7 year maybe limit to some of these games?
We've run down a lot of these already, and I think if you were able to maintain two permanent,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
for most situations, you would be okay,
Yes,
right? I mean,
yes,
if you're Tennessee and you get Kentucky and Alabama,
yeah,
well, you don't have Florida in that scenario,
right,
but
right.
Kentucky and Tennessee are
Mhm.
the chief rivals. There's
Yeah,
no doubt about that. And if you're Georgia, if you maintain Florida and Auburn, right?
yeah,
Now, I want to
right.
see Alabama LSU every year. I want to see Florida LSU
Yeah,
every year.
absolutely.
But if you could sustain two of those, even if you go
Mhm.
away from three eventually
Yeah.
and have more of a mix,
Mhm.
I think a lot of folks would probably be okay with that. Where are we at here now? I'm trying.
Texas,
Texas.
uh,
Yeah, let's talk about the Longhorns. I mean, obviously, as we talked about with OU, that's going to be a game that continues on for the foreseeable
mhm,
future in Dallas. You would think the Longhorns and the Sooners.
yes,
And then for OU, or excuse me, for Texas, I think Arkansas
yep,
makes a lot of sense.
yep,
Kind of like Oklahoma makes a lot of sense for
mhm.
Missouri. And you're gonna play A&M
Oh, yeah,
in Texas.
absolutely.
So those three,
Yeah,
those are pretty easy to slot. Kind of like Alabama with the three
yeah,
we talked about with the
yeah,
Crimson Tide.
agree, agree, but yeah, for Texas, there is absolutely no question that those would be their 3. So that will be that's almost a perfect fit for them in some ways.
It is, and it's with Arkansas in there to go along with A&M and Oklahoma. That's that. I think that's balanced enough too
Yeah,
in
yeah,
terms of
agree.
competitiveness and
Mhm.
what you would think you could expect almost on a year in and year out basis. So where are we at here? We
The A&M.
A&M, Texas A&M. We need to talk about the Aggies again. Texas A&M, Texas. Feel pretty
Mhm.
comfortable and thinking that's going to be an annual situation. Um, A&M LSU sounds like it would make a lot of sense, but I mean, we got LSU playing about 5 teams now on a
Yeah,
permanent
yeah,
basis.
we do.
Um, Arkansas A&M maybe. A&M Auburn. I'm going with a lot of the
Mhm.
ag stuff. When
Yeah,
I try to get
yeah, I
Auburn and
get it.
A&M playing, and Auburn and Mississippi
Mhm.
State, and Texas A&M and Mississippi
Yeah,
State, I'm
yeah,
trying to keep that round robin ag cup
yeah, yeah,
going with those three
yeah.
schools.
And I think that's better than what I'm looking at, which is LSU, Mississippi State, and Texas. Now, Texas is obviously a given, but with Mississippi State and LSU, I mean, there have been some pretty good rivalries there with LSU. So I no, you're right. That's an interesting situation there.
We getting into Vandy neighborhood? Is that where?
Yeah, we got Tennessee and Vandy left. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Let's check in on what we'll do here is we will go. I got to back up a little bit to find Tennessee and Vandy here. Let's see here. Do I have Tennessee here? Yes, I do. There's the
Mhm.
Balls. Balls recently named that starting quarterback, Brent,
Yes, they did.
Joey Aguilar.
Yes.
And
Who's got 6,000 yards already, by the way, Terrell?
well, we talk so much about that quarterback situation, and it's important. And I think it's good to have a veteran guy like that.
It is.
And I'm pulling for Joey
Oh,
Aguilar because
yeah,
this is a
absolutely.
guy went the JUCO route, went
Mhm.
to a non-power four, got his start or got his D1 start there at Appalachian State,
Mhm.
and it looked like he was headed to UCLA, and now he's been involved in this sort of bizarre swap with Nico. And I
Sure, yeah.
like I like the folks that take the road less traveled, and
Mhm.
that's been Joey
Mhm.
Aguilar. I
Yes.
think he'll be comfortable in that system. I think he'll be able to operate in a way that Josh Heupel needs him to. End of the day, for that team, not just that offense, in
Yes.
my opinion, to have a chance to really compete for a second
Mhm.
straight spot in the college football playoff,
Yes.
they're still going to have to be able to run the heck out of the football.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what they've been. I mean, you can talk about last
Mhm.
year with Dylan Sampson and, going back to Jalen Wright, Jabari Small. And
Yes.
then now, to me, more so than even Joey Aguilar, it's going to be up to that offensive line and
Sure
Deshaun
is.
Bishop and Peyton Lewis
Yep, yep.
and those backs to not just get it done for the sake of that offense's production, but to help that entire football team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, Chris Brazzell just got out of any legal situation, shall we say. So he's going to be okay. And Mike Matthews is good. But no, I'm with you. And look, I'm still not sure that they're where they want to be. But I'm with you. I do like Aguilar and what he brings to them. And look, I mean, if you got 6,000 yards already, I don't care if that's against air. That's not bad, frankly.
No, it's not. But you think about Tennessee in relation to future schedules now in a nine
Yeah.
game league
Hmm.
schedule. I mean, Kentucky, Alabama, those are two right there.
Yep.
But if you have Kentucky on there for Tennessee every year, can you have Vandy too?
Yeah. No,
That's where the trouble comes in. I see
I
with
agree.
Tennessee. I mean, those are unquestionably Tennessee's three uh, prominent rivals.
Yeah,
But
that's
for the
true.
sake of competitive balance,
Hmm.
unless you're able to do some things with your rotational opponents that make up for it, it's hard. I think you got to have another big dog to go
Yeah.
with Alabama if you're going to give Tennessee, Kentucky, or Vanderbilt, one or
Yeah.
the other.
Yeah.
You can make the case that Vanderbilt needs to
Hmm.
be that permanent opponent more than even Kentucky, I guess.
Yeah, the list I'm looking at is Alabama, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. That South Carolina thing may have been more out of geography than it was anything else, but that's
Yeah.
kind of
If you're
intriguing too.
Tennessee, you'll sign up for that.
Well, yeah, sure you would. Absolutely.
You'll sign up. You'll sign up for that. You'll take that. So let's
Mhm.
talk about Vanderbilt. Tennessee would be one of those teams that we would anticipate. And then you think about, I guess, other options for Vanderbilt, Kentucky,
Yeah,
maybe in that mix. But then again, this is another situation where that third, maybe even the second one for Vanderbilt, once you get past Tennessee, could be really a surprise of sorts.
yeah. In the list I've got for Vandy is Auburn, Missouri, in Tennessee. But you're right about that. I mean uh, that's a tough pick there. Although I give these Vanderbilt coaches a lot of credit. Whether they can beat all these teams, they're at least changing that mindset a little bit where they can be a lot more competitive.
Yeah, and the point you made a little bit earlier about revisiting these three common opponents, these three annual
Hmm.
opponents
Yeah.
is something that you might see because, teams don't stay down forever.
No,
I know
they
you can
don't.
say what you want about Vandy and Kentucky and maybe some of those teams, but,
Mhm.
like Auburn. Auburn
Yeah.
right now isn't viewed in this nearly the same light as it
Mhm.
was even 5 years ago,
True.
so
True.
uh, it's all cyclical, and that goes for the top of the league too. I mean, we've
Mhm.
seen Alabama down, we've seen Texas down, we've seen Georgia down, so they're not immune from it either for even elongated stretches
No.
when you consider the teams that are right now at the top of the league. So Brent, any other news and notes from around the league maybe in the last week? We always, this time of year, talk about injuries. Alabama had
Yeah.
a pretty significant one at running back with Jam Miller. Seems
Mhm.
like this is that time of year where, with running backs especially, you're holding your breath for
Oh, yeah.
whatever reason,
No,
because
no doubt.
last year we saw it with CJ Baxter at Texas. We saw it with Ruben. Um, Owens at Texas
Mhm.
A&M a year ago, lost those guys in the preseason. Wanted to get your thoughts on the Jam Miller injury, maybe your first thoughts when you got that news.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a blow for Miller. Fortunately, it's not a season-ending thing,
Right.
dislocated collarbone. Now, they did not do any surgery on the injury. When you're that young, you recover a little quicker than we do, I guess. Don't you, Trav? But that the doctors have said the recovery time is going to be fast. He says he's going to be back soon. You know, my thing with this is what it might do with the guys behind him in Richard Young, Daniel Hill at 6'1", 244, Dre Washington, Kevin Riley, and AK Deer.
Hmm.
I mean, and I'm not saying necessarily. I'm sure he would have gotten the most carries, but with Jam out, this and as long as season is going to be now, Trav, this may really help teams like Alabama. It doesn't seem like it when you've got an injury. I mean, they've got a schedule up into Georgia that they can manage,
Hmm.
even with Wisconsin in here. I'm not sure this won't be valuable, some of these backs.
Oh, that's the silver lining, or one of them
Yeah.
for sure, is that you're gonna expedite some things probably
Yes.
for a Rich Young and or a Daniel Hill. Dre
Yeah.
Washington's a vet. I mean, he
Yeah.
came
It
in from
really
the
is.
transfer portal from Louisiana, so
Mhm.
experience at this level, maybe not quite to this level
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the SEC, is something as much on his resume, but he's played a good bit of football the last 3 or 4 years. So more so in terms of experience, it's for Rich Young, it's for Daniel Hill. And yeah, if you get those guys that type of exposure and that
Yeah.
type of experience, because it isn't season ending for Jam Miller, when
Mhm.
he comes back, your situation could be even better
Oh, yeah.
than it was. I mean, Trey,
Absolutely.
look at Texas now because of what Trey Wisner got
True.
last year.
Yes.
And now Baxter comes back, and that's pretty daunting to think about, in terms of 1-2 punches. So, yeah, that's a shame for Jam Miller, a veteran back, kind of split some things in previous years. I still think it was going to be a mix of backs for
Mhm.
Alabama, but I didn't have
Mhm.
any doubt that Jam Miller was going to be the first
Oh,
back
yeah.
out there against Florida State. And that's where you have a little bit of trepidation going into that game, is that, yeah, another silver lining for Alabama is that it didn't happen like game week. It
Yeah.
happened
Right.
last Saturday.
Mhm.
So Alabama's got this week and next week and getting ready to ramp guys up. But you still won't know how those guys are going to handle that,
No.
even with a
No.
little bit of time in their corner, until you put them out there against the Seminoles.
Well, and the thing with Miller is, and what we've seen in covering this league for as long as we have, guys like Miller, who's a senior,
Hmm.
well, not only does he know how to run, he knows how to block, and he knows how to catch, and he knows the little things that can very well protect his quarterback from getting hurt. So, Trav, that there are multiple reasons why you miss Miller, not just running the ball.
Is there another team in the league, Brent, maybe in the last week, that you've caught a whiff of that has you a little bit concerned about that team going into the season? Sounds like Hugh's been getting after Jackson Arnold a little bit.
Yes,
You're going to take
yes.
that show on the road to Baylor.
Yeah.
1 week from tomorrow night. That sounds good, doesn't it? 1 week
Really
from
does,
tomorrow
doesn't
night,
it?
we're gonna have Auburn and
Yes.
Baylor from Waco.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we're at week 0 this weekend. The Ireland games just don't do it for me, though. I
No,
mean, I'll
no,
watch it because it's college football, but
I know.
I'm more interested in even Stanford, Hawaii
Oh, yeah.
Saturday, and
Absolutely.
because that'll feel more like college football, even though it's on
Mhm.
Oahu. That'll feel more like college football to me than a game in Ireland, even though I will watch. I will watch, but some maybe a team or two that either good or bad you've heard some things about or seen some things, read some things about in the last week that have you thinking they may be either a game or two or three better than we thought even a month ago, or maybe a game or two or three worse than we thought maybe even a
Yeah,
month ago.
and also let me throw UNLV in here with Dan Mullen,
Yes.
and Idaho State. That no, look, they'll win the game. I get all that, but the reality of that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And, just
Football.
yeah, just kind of see where that's going to go. I'm greatly amused at this Arkansas field rush policy. After the game ends, there's a 3-minute that will be placed on the video boards, and when the time runs out, fans will be allowed to down on the field to celebrate. If they do it
Oh,
before
wow.
then, it'll be a $500,000 fine from the SEC. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Oh my! And listen, the what do you make of this Florida situation? Now, the good thing about the situation they've got,
Injuries.
yes, to me that's the thing that kind of concerns you about them. Now, fortunately,
Yeah.
they've got their first two opponents. They're
Yeah.
not playing Miami the first two games, but Trev, does it concern you like it does me that Lagway is just not quite where he needs to be yet? And look, we're not saying that he's out for the season, anything like that at all. But there can't be that much consistency in that offense right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, even with LIU, Long Island for the opener, and then South Florida in week 2 to see exactly where he's at
Mm-hmm.
and how much they're willing to put on him. As we talked about before, though, they have the benefit of a really good offensive line and a stable of backs, a 1-2
Yeah. Oh
punch in the
yes.
running back position,
Yes.
at least, that if they need to turn Lagway more into pocket guy, they can do that. Now,
Yeah.
instinctively, what is going to try to take over with him?
Mm-hmm.
Because he is a playmaker with his legs. So,
Oh yes.
how much does that impact him in the way he plays, the
Right.
way he
Right.
likes to play?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've compared him to Steve McNair, is who
Yeah.
I've compared him
Oh
to,
yes.
because he's a strong guy. He can be physical if he needs to be. He can avoid pass rush with his strength. You got to work to get this guy on the ground, and McNair could stand in there if he needed to and beat you from the
Mm-hmm.
pocket.
Oh yeah.
So maybe Lagway can be that kind of guy. But there are. I agree. I think Florida. There's certainly questions about. Missouri's interesting because Eli's going to take that thing into the season opener. Now the season
Yes.
opener is
Yes.
Central Arkansas, but Bo Pribula coming in
Mm-hmm.
from Penn State, and then Sam Horn,
Yeah.
the baseball player, football player.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Eli says he's going to take that thing into the opener against Central. And look, looking at Missouri's schedule and this year and last year,
Yeah.
he has the luxury of being able to do that. And Sam Horn's
Mm-hmm.
a guy that's been around. I mean, he's been in
Yeah.
that system. I think Pribula is kind of the shiny new toy coming in from Penn
Mm-hmm.
State, and
Mm-hmm.
thinking about the different things he can do as well.
Oh yeah. I've got a couple I want to end with, Trav. One is Urban Meyer being honored during the Tennessee game. Now, look, you've heard this like I have. Hey, we appreciate those national championships, but Urban, we don't like you. Well, we'll see on November 22nd, kind of where the love is there. And my question is, Trav, is the bad blood gone now? Will there be a thunderous cheer, or will there be some fans sitting on their hands because they appreciate the national championships?
I don't really line up with.
Yeah, I think, Urban is always going to be viewed as pretty much a mercenary.
Yeah.
Look, if you're a Florida fan, you're fine with it. The guy came in and won a couple national championships. Is he going to be revered over the course of time like Spurrier or Tim Tebow or
right?
No, he was a mercenary. He came in and he did what he was hired to do.
Yeah,
now,
he did.
The mess behind was pretty extensive.
Yes,
but if you would have told most Florida fans, we know it's going to be pretty messy when he leaves, but you're going to have 2 national championships to show for it. Most folks we know would have taken it.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And still would.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're gonna get Pops's thoughts on the SEC.
I like that.
I recently visited with Pops. We got him pulled up here on the screen.
Yes.
And I asked him for his SEC predictions, Brent. We'll take this in. We'll analyze Pops here a little bit before we get out of here on Second Helping. Here's Pops from his front porch. How about that rug he's got there? That welcome mat. That's a very regal R.
It sure is, isn't it?
Wow. And a nice wreath on his door there. He's got the swing. Doesn't have any shoes on, which that's pretty standard, Pops. Let's see. I'm going to ask Pops about the SEC in 2025.
Pops, I was thinking about it, and you're kind of like Archie Manning. You got 3 sons. Is that about the extent of the comparisons, though?
Ain't got no further.
He wasn't going to compare me to, one of the Manning. And I look, he ain't Archie either. All right.
I don't really line up with Peyton, I guess.
No, Peyton or Archie
or Eli or even Cuppa. Not even a Cuppa of the brunch. Hey, I wanted to ask you about your SEC predictions.
Yeah.
Want to get you on record with that.
Oh, God.
You got a lot of your fan base that's anxious.
He does, and the thing is, he laughs about it, but he has a fan base, man. I get people all the time. They want to know what Pops is up to. What's he think?
You see that shaking out with Arch Manning and those Texas Longhorns. A lot of people think it's going to be Texas, Pops.
I think a lot of people are going to be wrong.
How about that? Right out the chute. Pops is not on that Bevo bandwagon.
He's not, is he?
At all.
Oh,
wow.
Lord.
Sarkeesian doesn't do anything for me.
Wow. Sarkeesian catches a shot.
Oh.
I mean, Sarkeesian's in the what is it? The 2.0 version of Sark's been pretty damn impressive, I think.
But I agree.
Pops, there's something about the Lane Sark thing that he's just not down with.
No,
but
he's
anyway,
not, is he?
Here we go.
You don't have any. Sark doesn't do it.
No.
Doesn't move the needle.
No.
Oh.
But I mean, and all I've ever heard was Archie was the greatest quarterback around. And all I've seen him do is ride the pine.
Oh no, there he is on Arch.
Oh, no.
He's not big on. You know what though? He is such a Spurrier fan, Spurrier mark. Where else have we heard that? By the way, what Pops just said, Brent. Where else have we heard that same comment? Basically, Mr. Coach, the head ball coach, said
absolutely no
a month ago, and Pops just parroting the head ball coach.
Well, he did sit behind Quinn Ewers,
but Ewers didn't do nothing.
Nothing.
To me, he didn't have that senior year.
Beat the blitz against Arizona State.
He sure did.
Thought he was going.
Yeah, he wasn't dynamic.
No,
he wasn't
not
dynamic.
at all.
So you're not full in on Arch.
But I like.
Who's going to win SEC then? Can you utter the word Georgia as a Gator, or is that just too hard?
I don't have a problem with it.
It really pains him. Don't listen to that.
Really.
I don't think their quarterback is going to be the boy.
What about Bama? What do you think of Ty Simpson?
I don't know nothing about Ty Simpson.
There's not a good team apparently, and there's not a good quarterback in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah.
Right.
Going to find out in Tallahassee.
Yeah,
we will.
You've been there a few times.
Yes.
You remember any of them?
I sure did.
Okay.
years ago when Marino and Pittsburgh.
You saw Pitt with Dan Marino at quarterback.
Marino,
He really
in
did.
Tally.
and the linebacker was all
Hugh Green.
Hugh Green.
That was a dynamic duo.
Mhm.
Now, that was after Majors? Was that Jackie? I want to say that must have been Jackie Sherrill was in there, right?
Yeah.
And Florida State had a punter,
Ron Stark.
that could kick it out of the stadium.
Left footer.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. But so you're kind of still up in the air about the SEC champ. What about your Gators?
Well,
what about your fighting Gators?
I love their running backs.
Yeah, Jaden Ball and that crew.
And if Flagway could stay on the field,
There it is. There it is, Brent.
Yeah.
I probably love him too.
Yeah.
But I have more doubt that he won't stay.
There
on
it
the
is.
field.
Got Anthony Richardson vibes a little bit.
I mean,
With the health.
we don't want to talk about Anthony.
Better quarterback, I'd say. Anthony Richardson's a top 10 pick.
Anthony Richardson.
All right. Well, we won't talk about Anthony Richardson, but if
Don't get him
Flagway
going.
stays healthy,
If Flagway stays healthy,
you could be a believer this year.
well, I could. I'm not a huge Napier fan,
Okay.
Oof.
but they picked up some really good athletes.
Yeah, they got some receivers.
Yeah.
Got to stay healthy.
You got to stay healthy.
All right, Pops. You excited about the season?
Yeah, I am, but not just the Gators. I mean, there's
Mhm.
so many teams that are going to be interesting
Mhm.
to keep up with.
Yeah.
I mean, Shador Sanders went up there to Cleveland. And,
Yeah, he looked good, didn't he?
I mean, good Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Now he's hurt.
Yeah.
Browns can't keep a quarterback healthy.
No.
All right, Pops. Well, we'll keep track of you throughout the season,
Yeah.
and we'll revisit
Yeah.
some of these comments. You know,
I think it's going to be a very entertaining and interesting.
2025.
Yeah. I'm probably looking.
But
forward
you're not buying the Texas hype.
No, and I'm sure they got all the 4 and 5 star players, and Sarkisian and this and Sarkisian and that.
Yeah.
But he didn't hit a lick with a stick.
He didn't hit a lick with a stick, Pop said. So there you go.
Yeah.
We get asked about Pops. So there's some
Good.
there's some Pops analysis as we get out of here.
That was good stuff there.
Yeah,
Yes.
the one, the only.
Yeah.
And so apparently there's no good team. There's not.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a vacated SEC this year. Nobody's going to win it.
Yeah. So we
And the quarterbacks aren't very good. And DJ Lagway can't stay healthy. So there it is. There's just some
so because of all that, we didn't get a winner for the league yet.
No, you know what he'll do? He'll wait till like mid-November and say, I really like, That's what he'll do. That's what he'll do.
Yeah.
Hey, Brent, it's a lot of fun, my man.
Me too, brother. I tell you what, it's hard to believe, but we're a week away, right?
We are a week away from week 1, and we'll get some in this weekend.
We will.
So we'll look forward to that. And then next week, it'll be a lot of game previews right here on Second Helping on the Reier on YouTube channel. Brent, look forward to doing it.
Me too, brother. Take care.
For Brent Beaird, I'm Travis Reier, reminding you, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Reier on YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please also hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted to all of our content as it drops here on the channel. And a thumbs up, a like, helps us too. For Brent, Travis, until next time, so long, everybody.